In the heart of Siberia, where the cold is not just weather but a force that reshapes life itself, temperatures drop to minus 72 degrees Celsius and sometimes approach minus 75 degrees Celsius in the harshest extremes. This is colder than any household freezer, colder than the deepest industrial chillers, colder than anything most people will ever experience. At these levels, the air itself becomes a weapon. Exposed skin suffers frostbite in seconds, eyelashes freeze together into solid ice, breath turns into thick white vapor that crystallizes instantly in midair, and prolonged exposure can literally stop blood flow in your veins as it begins to freeze. A large animal like an elephant or rhino, if left outside for just 3 hours, would become a solid block of frozen flesh, rigid like iron, its massive body turned into an ice sculpture with no trace of life remaining. This is Oymyakon and Verkhoyansk, two small towns in the Sakha Republic, Yakutia, Russia, places where human existence seems impossible, yet people still live, breathe, eat, and endure year after year. They do not merely survive, they have built an entire way of life around the cold, with food, clothing, water, daily routines, and even basic hygiene adapted completely to this frozen reality. The food here is not about flavor or variety. It is about survival. There are no fresh vegetables, no ripe fruit, no green fields. Everything comes from hunting, herding, fishing, and what can be preserved by the cold itself. Meat, fish, and milk freeze solid outdoors in minutes and stay frozen for months without spoiling. No refrigerators are needed. The outdoors is the freezer. The people of Yakut and Evenki origin rely on reindeer, horses, sheep, goats, wild game, deer, hare, birds, river fish, omul, whitefish, salmon, and a few berries or herbs gathered in the short summer. These ingredients are the foundation of every meal, and the way they are prepared and eaten is designed to provide maximum calories, protein, fat, and vitamins in the most efficient way possible. One of the most distinctive foods is stroganina, thinly sliced frozen raw river fish. Omul from the Lena River or whitefish from local streams are caught through holes drilled in the thick ice, pulled up fresh, cleaned with melted snow, and left outside to freeze solid immediately. A sharp knife, warmed over the fire so it does not shatter, is used to slice the fish lengthwise into paper-thin strips, avoiding crosscuts that would ruin the texture. These slices are eaten immediately, sprinkled with salt, black pepper, or dried onion if available, sometimes dipped in a simple mustard sauce made from ground mustard seeds mixed with melted snow water. The texture is crisp and crunchy, like eating frozen ice cream made of fish, with a clean, slightly fishy taste that is surprisingly refreshing. Stroganina is rich in protein, omega-3 fatty acids, and natural vitamin C, which helps prevent scurvy in a place where fresh produce is impossible. It requires no cooking, saving precious firewood, and is eaten almost daily, often for breakfast or as a quick snack. Families sit around a low wooden table inside their wooden houses or round yurts, chewing slowly to savor the freshness and extract every bit of nutrition. After eating stroganina, they drink hot tea made with reindeer milk to balance the cold sensation in the stomach. The fish is sourced directly from the Lena and Indigirka rivers, which freeze solid and become natural freezers. Fishermen drill holes in ice up to 2 meters thick using hand tools, drop lines, and pull fish out one by one. The cold preserves them instantly, so no further storage is needed. Another staple is haan, thinly sliced raw frozen horse meat from young foals. Horse meat is chosen because horses thrive here on sparse tundra grass and lichen, and young foals provide tender, safe meat with less risk of parasites. The animal is slaughtered in autumn when temperatures begin to drop, the meat cleaned with melted snow and left outside to freeze solid. A warmed knife slices it into thin strips, often served with frozen raw liver for extra nutrients, seasoned with salt, and sometimes eaten with hard flour bread. The taste is naturally sweet and slightly metallic from the blood, soft yet firm from the freeze, and extremely rich in iron and protein to combat anemia caused by long months without sunlight. Haan is eaten several times a week, especially when extra energy is needed for outdoor work. Families consume it slowly around the stove, chewing thoroughly to aid digestion and absorb iron. The horses come from local herds that roam the permafrost plains year-round, providing both meat and milk. Water for cleaning or tea is obtained by melting snow over the coal stove or drilling holes in the river ice for cleaner water, which is then boiled to kill bacteria. After eating haan, people drink hot milk tea or locally made vodka in small amounts to warm the blood, though vodka is used sparingly because bottles can shatter in the extreme cold. Going to the toilet after such a meal is challenging. They step outside to a simple wooden outhouse with a hole dug into the snow, wearing multiple layers to avoid frostbite, moving quickly because the wind can cause pain or infection. The cold can make the body tense, leading to constipation, so they drink extra hot liquids to help. Blood sausage, known locally as kan kuyur, is another food that few outsiders would try. Blood from freshly slaughtered horses or reindeer is collected, mixed with salt, dried onion, and flour to thicken it, stuffed into cleaned horse intestines, and left outside to freeze solid. The sausage is eaten raw or lightly roasted over coals with a rich, salty, slightly metallic taste and a dense, chewy texture. It is packed with iron and protein, making it essential for preventing fatigue and anemia in the long, dark winter. People eat it sliced thin for breakfast or lunch, often with salt or bread. The blood comes from the same herds used for meat, slaughtered seasonally to supply both. Water for cleaning intestines is melted snow or drilled river ice, boiled on the stove. Families share the sausage around the stove, eating slowly to maximize nutrition. After eating, they drink hot tea to settle the stomach. Toilet visits are the same outdoor routine, done quickly in heavy layers to avoid exposure. Soup made from reindeer or horse meat and offal is the main hot meal. Frozen meat is brought in from outside, sliced thin with a warmed knife, dropped into boiling melted snow water, and simmered with salt and dried local herbs on the coal stove for hours. Offal, heart, liver, lungs, is chopped and added to use every part of the animal, providing vitamins that meat alone lacks. The soup is thick, hearty, and warming, eaten hot from wooden bowls to raise body temperature. It is the centerpiece of dinner, shared among the family while sitting close to the stove. Meat comes from local herds or hunting trips, water from melted snow or drilled river ice. After dinner, they drink tea or kumis. Hard flour bread is a constant companion. Flour is imported from outside regions, mixed with melted snow water, and baked on a cast iron pan or directly on coals into dry, dense loaves. The bread is chewed slowly to release energy, often eaten with soup, meat, or cheese. It provides carbohydrates to sustain long hours of work in the cold. Flour is stored in sacks inside the house. Water is always melted snow or drilled river water boiled first. Frozen reindeer cheese is made from milk that is allowed to freeze into blocks outside, then shaved thin or melted into tea. It is rich in fat and calcium, helping to build insulation under the skin and strengthen bones weakened by lack of sun. People eat it shaved over bread or stirred into hot drinks. Fermented mare's milk, kumis, is a traditional drink. Milk is collected from mares, fermented in leather bags by shaking for hours, then drunk cold or slightly warmed. It has a tangy, slightly alcoholic taste and aids digestion in a diet heavy in meat and fat. Kumis is consumed daily, especially after meals, to balance heavy foods. Clothing is essential for survival. People wear 30 to 40 layers. Inner layers of reindeer hide to absorb sweat, middle layers of sheep wool for insulation, outer layers of thick fabric or fur to block wind. The clothing weighs up to 14 kilograms, creating air pockets that trap body heat like natural insulation. Hats cover the entire head except eyes and nose. Boots are fur-lined with thick soles to walk on snow without sinking. Gloves are multi-layered to handle tools without frostbite. Clothing is handmade with needles warmed over fire, decorated with traditional patterns such as reindeer antlers or spirals symbolizing shamanic beliefs. When going outside, they wear full layers. Inside, they remove outer layers to avoid sweating, which can freeze and cause illness. Women sew and repair clothing by the stove in the evening using bone or heated metal needles. Children learn early to dress in layers, with smaller versions of adult clothing. Water is obtained two ways. Most commonly, they scoop clean snow, preferably fresh fallen to avoid dirt, into metal buckets or pots, bring it inside, and melt it on the coal stove. Snow is preferred because it is easier to collect and generally cleaner than river water. For drinking and cooking, they boil the melted snow thoroughly to kill bacteria. The alternative is drilling holes in the thick river ice. Men use hand drills or hammers to bore through 1 to 2 meters of ice, collecting cleaner river water below. This water is carried home in buckets, boiled and used for drinking, cooking, and rare washing. Drilling takes time and effort, so snow is the daily choice. Bathing is infrequent, once or twice a week at most. They heat melted snow in a small wooden tub, dip cloths in the warm water, and wipe down the body, focusing on face, hands, underarms, and private areas. Full baths are avoided because the cold air after wet skin can cause shock or pneumonia. Skin is protected by rubbing reindeer or horse fat on exposed areas to prevent cracking and frostbite. Toilets are simple outdoor structures, wooden sheds with a hole dug into the snow or ground. People wear full layers to go outside, move quickly to avoid prolonged exposure, and use old newspaper, dry leaves, or soft snow for cleaning. At night or in severe storms, they use buckets or pots inside the house, then empty them outside and cover with snow to freeze and reduce odor. The cold makes digestion slower, so they drink extra hot liquids to help. Hygiene is maintained by changing underwear layers frequently, wiping with warm cloths, and burning dried herbs to purify the air inside the house. Daily life revolves around warmth and food. People wake early, even in darkness, to light the stove, melt snow for water, and prepare breakfast. Men check herds, hunt, or chop wood, wearing full layers. Women cook, sew, care for children, and maintain the home. Children play briefly outside in layers, then study or help inside. Meals are eaten together around the stove, shared to strengthen family bonds. Sleep comes early, in fur sleeping bags or piled blankets, with everyone close together to share body heat. The cold here is so intense that survival depends on every detail: food high in fat and protein, layered clothing trapping air, melted snow for water, quick outdoor tasks, and constant fire. These foods and routines are not luxuries. They are necessities that have allowed people to live where nature seems determined to end all life. The resilience of the Yakut and Evenki people is a testament to human adaptability, turning a frozen wasteland into a home. To expand further, consider the variations in preparation. Stroganina from Oymyakon has a milder, sweeter taste compared to whitefish, which is saltier. People in Oymyakon often use river fish more because the Lena River is closer, while Verkhoyansk residents sometimes rely on lake fish. The slicing technique is passed down through generations. The knife must be sharp and slightly warmed. The cut must follow the grain of the flesh to keep the slices intact and juicy despite being frozen. Nutritionally, the natural vitamin C in fresh frozen fish prevents scurvy, a disease that plagued early explorers but is rare among locals who eat stroganina regularly. Families store whole frozen fish outside, hanging them high to keep them away from wolves or dogs, and bring them in one at a time as needed. The process of catching fish in winter involves drilling through thick ice with hand tools, a task that takes strength and patience and is often done by men in teams for safety. Haan also has regional differences. In Oymyakon, it is often paired with raw liver for extra iron, while in Verkhoyansk, people sometimes add a thin layer of horse fat to increase calories. The iron from horse meat is crucial in a place where long darkness causes vitamin D deficiency and anemia. Horses are herded on the permafrost plains, where they graze on lichen and sparse grass that grows under the snow. Slaughter happens in autumn to take advantage of the cooling temperatures, and the meat is hung outside on wooden racks, covered with cloth to protect from wind-blown dirt. Slicing requires skill. The knife is heated over the stove, the meat is cut against the grain for tenderness, and slices are arranged on wooden plates. Eating haan is a family ritual. Everyone sits close to the stove, chewing slowly while sharing stories of the herd or the hunt. Vodka, made from imported potatoes or grains, is sometimes sipped in small amounts after eating to stimulate circulation, though overuse is avoided because the cold makes intoxication dangerous. Kan kuyur, the blood sausage, varies slightly too. In Oymyakon, it often includes more flour for thickness, while Verkhoyansk versions use more herbs to reduce the strong blood taste. The iron content is vital for energy during long outdoor tasks. Blood is collected immediately after slaughter, mixed quickly to prevent clotting, and stuffed into intestines cleaned with boiling melted snow. The sausages freeze solid outside, hanging from rafters or racks, and are brought in as needed. Eating them raw preserves nutrients, but light roasting over coals adds a smoky flavor. Families share the sausage, cutting thin slices and passing them around the table, often with hard bread to balance the richness. Is mine, the offal soup, uses every part of the animal: heart for strength, liver for vitamins, lungs for texture. The soup simmers for hours, filling the house with a rich, meaty aroma that contrasts with the cold outside. It is eaten hot from deep wooden bowls, with bread dipped in to soak up the broth. The vitamins from offal prevent deficiencies that plague meat-only diets in winter. Salamat, the thick sour cream porridge, is made by beating frozen reindeer cream with flour and simmering until thick. It is calorie-dense, providing sustained energy for cold mornings. People eat it warm, sometimes sweetened with dried berries if available. Kerchek, the frozen berry cream, is a rare treat. Berries gathered in summer are frozen in blocks, beaten with cream, and eaten cold. The vitamin C combats scurvy, and the sweetness lifts spirits in the dark months. Kumis, fermented mare's milk, is shaken in leather bags until slightly fizzy. It aids digestion after heavy meat meals and provides probiotics in a diet lacking fresh food. Daily meals follow a pattern: breakfast with tea, milk, and stroganina or salamat. Lunch with soup or haan during work breaks. Dinner with hot soup, meat, bread, and kumis. Eating is always communal, around the stove, with stories shared to pass time and strengthen bonds. Clothing is layered for insulation. Inner reindeer hide wicks sweat, wool traps air, outer fur blocks wind. Hats, boots, and gloves are fur-lined. Clothing is handmade, repaired constantly, and decorated with patterns symbolizing strength and nature. People change layers carefully to avoid sweating. Water is melted snow or drilled river ice, always boiled. Bathing is rare, wiping with warm cloths. Toilets are outdoor holes or indoor buckets emptied into snow. Life here is a constant battle against the cold, won through food, clothing, and routine. The resilience of these people turns an impossible place into home.